Everybody's talking to Paul. I hear every word they're saying on my laptop, on my phone. When life seems a constant battle, I tune into Earnest Prattle. It will brighten even your darkest day.
Hello, welcome to Earnest Prattle edition 21. That's right, we've reached a bit of a milestone, the 21st edition of Earnest Prattle. So at this stage, I'd just like to say a big thank you to all my subscribers and all of those people who have appeared on the show and offered their support up until this point. So thank you everybody for your input. Before we get on to the main video, just a little bit of housekeeping. Could I please ask politely if you consider pressing the like button, subscribing, maybe leaving a comment or sharing the video. Any of those things will be absolutely tremendous. So on to today's video. I've got a fantastic individual, goes by the name of Sam Whitworth. She is a brilliant lady from Derby, who works with an organisation called StopGap Derby, who are feeding the homeless and people in need on the streets of Derby every week on a Sunday night. So, without further ado, roll VT. Good evening, Sam. Thank you for agreeing to talk to me, and this is a very special episode because it's actually Earnest Prattle edition 21. So coming to my anniversary, it's the same as your age, Sam. 21.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth there, Paul. Yeah,
absolutely. So, and I can see, yeah, that's it. Go with it, Sam. Go with it. Like I said, I can't guarantee there'll be no flirting in the episodes. I should do my best to keep it professional. But
okay, I'll reel you in if I need to.
Oh, that's very good of you. Thank you very much. So, as we normally do, Sam, can you just tell me a little bit about yourself to start off with, if that's all right, Sam, please?
So, my name's Sam Whitworth. I'm from Yorkshire originally, but I've lived in Derby for about 25 years now. I work in local government, always have done. I currently work in housing. And about 3 years ago, me and some friends set up a street kitchen in Derby to feed homeless and vulnerable people in the city, to offer a sort of listening ear if they needed it. We go out one night a week, just on a Sunday. We have our regular visitors and we have people who we only see a couple of times. Pre-pandemic, we were feeding around 100 people every Sunday night. But we've only actually been out 2 weeks now. This is our second week back out post-COVID. The first week we had the grand total of 7 visitors. But this week, Sunday just gone, we were back up to 30. So the word is out on the street that we're back out, and it was nice to see some of our former visitors. I say nice, it's never great that people need our services, but then I think it's good that we're there when they do. And a lot of our visitors aren't actually sleeping rough on the streets. The definition of homeless isn't necessarily just someone who, sleeps under a railway bridge. It can be anyone who's sofa surfing or who's living in a hostel or any kind of temporary or insecure accommodation. So we get a lot of people who live in hostels. We get a lot of people who are just starting out on their journey back into society after being a rough sleeper or being in prison or whatever. And then we get people who come along who are just lonely and they like coming along for the company and the chat, a range of things really. So it was really nice to see some of our old friends from before the pandemic looking so well.
I was going to say, Sam, the way I came across you as an individual, and initially it was literally an accident. It was a friend of a friend from Facebook. I got a friend,
a mutual friend, yes.
A friend called Angel on Facebook, and you was a mutual friend. And I happened to look on your Facebook one weekend, and I think you put a little article on about StopGap Derby, and there were some photographs of the volunteers. And I thought to myself, what a fantastic individual, you know, what a lovely thing to do. So I got interested and I thought, well, hey, she's a bit of a look as well at the same time, you see, Sam.
Oh, you old flatterer.
So being cheeky daft, I did actually send you a friend's request, but I have kept in contact because I do watch what you get up to with the you know, the volunteering. So how did it come about in the first place? How did you set it up? And
well, initially, a couple of us actually went out with another street kitchen, and we didn't run it. We weren't FANDOM members, but we worked with this other street kitchen in Derby. And then the other street kitchen made some changes to the way they ran, which we didn't necessarily agree with. So we just decided to go out on our own and do it, as did several others. So from that one original street kitchen, about 3 or 4 have come out of it, which is great. And we all work together. You know, we all go out on different nights. We all work together. We share food if we have it. We share information like all the other street kitchens. When I got in touch with them and said, right, guys, we're going to be out again from Sunday, they all told the visitors that we were going to be out again and where we'd be and at what time. And that's great. And by working together, we can achieve so much more because we're all working with the same aim and more or less we're serving the same people. So it's great that we can sort of share those resources and that knowledge and so on and so forth if we need to. And, you know, we even share volunteers. If one of us is short, we'll put the call out and somebody from another street kitchen will step in. So it works really nicely.
I mean, where do you get the volunteers from? I mean, you must have some fantastic people giving up their time.
Absolutely.
I mean,
we do. We have a whole host of volunteers. We have our core street team, and there's 5 or 6 people who are out every week. You know, winter, summer, rain, shine. Those core volunteers are out. And then we have other volunteers who cook for us or who make sandwiches for us or will contribute. I mean, when we were out on Sunday night, a car pulled up, don't know who they were, just pulled up, gave us a tenner, put that in your bank account, you know, and that's really nice. But in terms of volunteers, we just put a shout out on Facebook and people got involved, and, you know, they're all lovely people and it's great to work with them. And some people, as I say, some people are there every week and cook every week or make sandwiches every week. We have one guy who makes all our hot and cold drinks every week, which is quite an onerous task. And others will just, you know, shout up on Facebook when we do a call out for food and say, oh, I'll do you 10 shepherd's pies this week or whatever, which is great. And then they bring them down on the night because it is literally a pop-up situation. You know, we just rock up with our van, we get everything out, we set up the tables, we do the street kitchen, then an hour later we clear it all away, go around with the litter picker and leave the place as we found it. It's
just so people know, Sam, where exactly geographically do you set up in Derby?
We set up down behind the cathedral on Cathedral Green near the Bonnie Prince Charlie statue.
Okay, yeah.
And Derby will know where that is.
Is it the same time every Sunday?
Same time every Sunday, 8 o'clock, yeah.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
the bonus is doing it, yeah. Sorry,
I mean, you've got volunteers that obviously come down, some make food, some come down, man the stall. If people wanted to get involved but they maybe wouldn't be able to travel, or is there a way of contributing by making cash donations or maybe sending items of clothing or stuff like that? Is there other ways to contribute as well?
Fundraising. We always welcome fundraising because we do have a van we were very fortunate a couple of years ago in that a lady donated £5,000 to us in memory of a young friend of hers who died of leukemia, which enabled us to buy a van. And we've livered it up with the StopGap logo and everything. We've put the young man's name on it, who the money was donated in memory of. But obviously having a van means we have to tax and insure said van. So really that's all we need money for, is to keep the van on the road.
Right.
And to buy things like the foil trays that we put the food in, and things like carry bags, cups, you know, those kind of things. But pretty much everything else is donated. So people can either donate items or, you know, donate money, fundraise, whatever, just get the word out as you're doing, Paul. You know, I appreciate that you're over in Nottingham and you can't get to us, but this is a form of support for us. So, you know, anything that people have to offer, we really value.
Well, that's exactly right, Sam. I mean, I would like to come and help, but being in Nottingham, and I say I don't drive, so it's not quite so easy for me. No. But if there's other ways I could contribute, I mean, this is just one simple way of me helping out, is by getting the word out. And I will run something on the website as well, on earnestprattle.com, just to try and highlight what you do. So if people wanted to make a contribution by a cash donation, how would they do that? Is the information on the Facebook page, or?
Yeah, if they just go to our page on Facebook, if they just search StopGap Derby, it's there. And then if they want to just drop us a message or drop me a message, Sam Whitworth, and I will give them our bank account details. We have a charity community bank account.
Right, okay.
Available for inspection anytime. It's all very above board and legit. So yeah, people can drop donations in there at any time.
Well, I'll probably pop a donation around in person, Sam, to your house with a little card and stuff.
Oh, bless you. Thank you, Paul.
It's quite all right. There's no ulterior motive or anything, Sam, honestly. It's all about
I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely.
But, you know, in relation to the people that use the service,
yeah,
like you said earlier, I think maybe there's sometimes a bit of a preconception about the type of people that might need to use that service.
Yeah,
I think the way things are, I suppose that it could be anybody, couldn't it? Because even families at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we do have rough sleepers. You know, we have people who do sleep under railway bridges and in car parks, and you know, and they never tell you where they sleep.
No,
people to know for their own personal security. So yeah, we do very much have rough sleepers, and something that we always have a lot of through the winter is sleeping bags, because if they're sleeping in, you know, a sleeping bag is great, but in the morning, if you've been sleeping in a car park or under a bench or whatever, you wake up in the morning and it's got dew on it, you know, it's got condensation on it, and then how do you get it dry if you're living on the streets?
Exactly.
So we do go through, some hostels will do a sort of laundering service for sleeping bags, and you know, people can take them in and go back from later when they've been dried. But you know, keeping your sleeping bag safe and dry is a real problem. And then what do you do with it in the day? You know, so they try and find somewhere safe and dry to hide it. But you know, it's quite a challenge. So we do have a constant stock of sleeping bags and socks. Socks is another thing, because people are living on the streets, particularly in winter when it's wet. They basically get trench foot because the feet are dry. So through winter, we have a constant need for sort of baby wipes, talc, socks, so that people can at least keep the feet dry, if nothing else.
Absolutely.
And it's all those little things that, you know, you and I in our nice cozy houses don't think about.
No.
But it's a real eye opener. And then we have, you know, we have the older people who are lonely, so come down for a bit of company.
Yeah.
We have people with, you know, we have people who've come out of the military and may have a bit of PTSD and are struggling with the mental health. We have people generally who are struggling with the mental health and might be living in supported accommodation. So, you know, we will always support them. We do have people with addiction problems, obviously. You know, if you've struggled, if you've had a rough childhood and you end up on the streets through no fault of your own because you haven't got that family sort of
safety
net to catch you, and you know, you fall through the gaps and you end up on the streets and you've had a horrendous childhood, then all you've got to think about all day when you're on the streets is that horrendous childhood. So is it any wonder that they will take drugs or drink or whatever to seek that oblivion? You know, and then the mental health problems develop. So it's not as simple as why don't they just go and get a job and a house? You know, it's a lot more complex than that. And one thing that, you know, that all the volunteers have in common is that, you know, we all think they're but for the grace of God. And I think that's why, not in a godly way, I'm not a big godly person at all, but, you know, in another lifetime, that could be us. In a different set of circumstances, that could be any of us.
Quite easily.
Very easy.
I think the average individual is about 3 paydays from the street.
Oh, if that, yeah. And the other thing we have is, you know, now and again we have somebody, usually young men, to be fair. Oh, my girlfriend's kicked me out. My girlfriend's kicked me out and I've got nowhere to go. And we feed them and give them a sleeping bag and say, I hope you sort it out. And we never see them again because they've gone back. My girlfriend's forgiven them and it's all fine. But in some, that doesn't happen. You know, and we've seen young men come along and they've got a job, but they've got nowhere to live. And then 6 months later, you know, they're taking drugs and they've lost the job and they're on the streets. And that's really sad. But in cases like that, all we can do is be there to talk it through with them. You know, we're not there to judge. We're not particularly there to counsel. We're not, you know, there are support services for homeless people. All we're there to do is feed and talk to them, give them a hug if they want.
But do you signpost them to services if they need to?
We make suggestions of where to go, but we're not experts. We literally go out and we feed them with no judgment. Our attitude is very much, whoever you are, if you need to turn and take a foil container of food from a stranger on the side of the road for your dinner, then you need that foil container of food, because no one would do that voluntarily, would they really?
No.
You know, what would do that if they didn't really have to? So whoever they are, from whatever walk of life, we would, you know, we're there and we don't judge and we don't ask questions. We do find that as people get to know us and develop that trust, they will tell us their stories or they'll talk to us about what's bothering, but we will never ask them.
No.
You know, it's down to them because they get enough people asking them and psychoanalyzing them and telling them what they should do. We're just there to listen and not judge and give them something nice to eat.
So, such a fantastic service, Sam. And you said you've been back doing it for 2 weeks. So, what happened during the COVID scenario?
Well, during the pandemic, any street homeless were taken into hotels by local authorities.
Oh.
The government available for local authorities to do that. It's stopped now, but that was available during the pandemic. So there weren't anyone who was out on the streets during COVID was there because they didn't want to be put up in a hotel. And there were, you know, we do have some people who come to the street kitchen who can't live in a hotel. The only life they understand is life on the streets.
Yeah.
And they survived, you know, they're still here to tell the tale. What was heartwarming, and one of the other guys said to me actually on Sunday night, he said, have you noticed how well they all look? Now, that's partly because they've been in a hotel. And I think one guy, a regular, you know, he said, Sam, I've stopped drinking. I haven't had a drink for 6 months and I feel amazing. And he looked amazing. He's an older guy and he's housed, but quite vulnerable. He looked amazing. You know, his skin looked fresh, his eyes looked bright. And he said, I've rediscovered life. It's amazing. It's brilliant. And that's lovely. And I'm not sure that would have happened without the pandemic. So there are those little stories and they're all looking really well and it's great, you know.
And the pandemic's been a horror story for a lot of people, including myself. I mean, I've had a tough time, but then again, some things have come out of the pandemic, whereas I found my vlog, and I found my friend Alistair Morrison, who, like I said, just come back from Shetland for that film premiere, and all of that wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for the pandemic, if I hadn't been locked in the house for 18 months. So I feel that it's given a lot of people opportunity to have a bit of a reset.
I think we've all had a lot of time to sit and think, haven't we, on our own?
Absolutely.
And possibly reevaluate a little bit. and maybe think about what direction we really want to go in. And, you know, that includes some of our visitors. Another one the other night, I said to him, what did you do? You know, what did you do in lockdown? What did you do for food? And he said, well, I had to manage on my own. I learned how to cook, you know. I learned how to go and spend a tenner at the supermarket and cook. I mean, don't get me wrong, he hasn't learned it that much that he's not coming to us any longer. He was there like the queue. But, you know, it's all good. It's all progress.
It's a start, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So whilst I've got you on, Sam, is there any of your volunteers you'd like to give a big shout out to that are regularly come and help you? It's your chance to go on.
Our regular core team that are out every week. So we have JD and Rich on the drinks. We have Bob and Eliza on the sandwiches and the cakes. And we have Maria and Katie on the hot food. And me and Scott are at the front doing crowd control.
So you, well, absolutely
core team.
Fantastic bunch of individuals.
Rain
Every
or
one
shine,
of you.
even in the snow. Yeah.
So I'm really, really proud to be a friend, then, Sam, and to be, you know, able to do a little bit to help. I know it's not a lot, but
no, it's great, Paul, and thank you for inviting me on. It's been lovely.
No, honestly, I've wanted to for a long time, and do you know something? I'm glad I have, because I've been wanting to talk to you anyway, Sam. And
time's flown, hasn't it?
Time has flown. Time has flown. But as is customary on the old vlogs, Sam, I normally get my guests to say a quick hello to my mum, who's...
hi, Anne. Hope you're all right.
No, thank you very much. Same name as your mother, I believe.
Same name as my mum.
Fantastic.
It's rumoured, you know, that mothers who are called Anne have fantastic children.
Well, from looking at what I can see today, Sam, it's obviously true. So all I need to say, Sam, is thank you so much for letting me know about what it is you do with the StopGap, I can't say it, StopGap Derby. And thank you for talking to me. I mean, I want to say don't be a stranger, Sam. Let's make sure we have another chat sooner rather than later. So,
and anytime you're over in Derby of a Sunday evening, Paul, you know where we are.
Well, I definitely do. I'm going to come and gate crash and see what I can do to help.
Great stuff.
So it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Sam. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.